February 17th, 2026.
Dubai.
A packed grandstand arena. The kind of night where the air feels electric before the first ball is even struck. A 20-year-old from the Philippines walks onto that court, racket in hand, completely unbothered by the moment. Across the net stands Jasmine Paolini, world number 8, two-time Grand Slam finalist, a player who's been in these kinds of battles more times than she can count. Nobody outside of the most devoted Filipino fan gave Alex a real shot that night. And then the match started. And everything changed. That night in Dubai sent a ripple through the entire tennis world, and now those ripples have turned into waves crashing straight into Stuttgart, Germany, because the rematch is officially on. Strap in, because this story has everything. It has drama. It has redemption, it has a surface switch that completely flips the script, and it has two players whose rivalry might just be the most compelling storyline on the WTA Tour right now. Let me take you through all of it. Before we get to Stuttgart, you have to understand how Alex even ended up in this tournament in the first place, because honestly the circumstances are wild. China's Zheng Qinwen, reigning Olympic gold medalist and one of the most exciting players on the planet, was forced to withdraw from the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix due to an injury that has been lingering and keeping her away from the clay swing entirely. The tournament released a statement, fans sent their well wishes, and everyone moved on. But when a player of Zheng's caliber pulls out of a WTA 500, there is a domino effect. Spots shift. The draw reshuffles. And the next eligible player in line steps into a position they were never originally supposed to occupy. That player was Alex. Sitting at a career-high world ranking of 46, she was called up to fill the vacancy, and the moment her name appeared in that main draw, the internet lost its mind. Not just because Alex is a fan favorite, which she absolutely is, but because her placement in the draw almost immediately set up a potential collision course with Paolini. The same Paolini she destroyed in Dubai just weeks earlier. The tennis algorithm had spoken, and it was demanding a sequel. So let's go back to that first match, because if you want to understand what is at stake in Stuttgart, you need to feel every moment of what happened in Dubai. When Alex walked onto that court as the underdog, she did not play like one. She came out swinging from the very first game. First set, she was on fire. We are talking about a performance so clinical, so precise, so utterly suffocating that Paolini barely had room to breathe. Alex won that set 6-1 in just 25 minutes. 25 minutes. She was making over 70% of her first serves, hitting her spots with laser accuracy, and her forehand, that devastating forehand, was landing so deep and so fast that Paolini was constantly on her heels, struggling to find any kind of rhythm. There were stretches in that first set where you genuinely wondered whether Paolini was even going to win a game. Alex was not just playing well. She was playing out of her mind, dictating every single rally from the very first strike, punishing anything that came back mid-court with a kind of ruthless efficiency that makes coaches wince when they watch the film back. Paolini, for her part, looked genuinely shell-shocked. She had received a first-round bye, so this was cold, and Alex gave her absolutely no time to warm up. But here's where the story gets interesting, because a great player does not just fold when the match turns against them. And Jasmine Paolini is absolutely a great player. When the second set began, something shifted. Paolini dug in. She started looping the ball higher, disrupting Alex's timing. She began chasing down shots that most players would have conceded, turning those defensive situations into offensive opportunities. She was fighting for every single point, and gradually, she started to claw her way back into the match. Alex built a 3-1 lead in the second set, and then Paolini broke back to level it at 3-all. The momentum was swinging, and the crowd could feel it. Then came the sequence that will be talked about for years whenever these two players are mentioned in the same breath. Alex pushed forward again, got to 5-3, and stood on the edge of completing one of the most dominant wins of her young career. She was serving for the match. 3 match points. 3 separate opportunities to close it out. And Paolini saved every single one of them. That is not just quality tennis. That is the kind of mental toughness that separates good players from elite ones. Paolini clawed back from the brink, broke Alex's serve, held her own, and suddenly found herself leading 6-5. The first lead, She had held the entire match.
Picture the scene.
A 20-year-old, suddenly under immense pressure after letting 3 match points slip away, serving at 5-6 with the crowd buzzing and the momentum completely against her. Polini earned 2 set points. 2 opportunities to force a third set and completely reset the emotional landscape of the match. And what did Alex do? She hit through both of them. Not by playing safe. Not by waiting for Polini to miss. She stepped inside the baseline, took the ball early, and played the kind of tennis that made the people watching lose their minds. She forced a tiebreak. In that tiebreak, the two of them traded punch for punch until it was 4 points all, and then Alex found something extra. Something that cannot be taught. She won 3 of the next 4 points and closed out the match. Final score, 6-1, 7-6 in the tiebreak. Alex won 72 total points to Polini's 57. She broke serve 4 times. She absorbed everything the world number 8 threw at her in that second set and came out on the other side still standing. The whole world shouted. Filipino fans were absolutely electric, turning what should have been a neutral venue into something that felt like a home crowd in Manila. Every winner was met with a roar. Every break point saved felt like a championship moment. And now, a few weeks later, those same fans will be making noise in Germany. But here's the part of the story where the real drama begins. Because Stuttgart is not Dubai. Not even close. The surface inside the Porsche Arena is indoor clay. And those 2 words change absolutely everything about this matchup. Think about the difference between a basketball game on hardwood versus playing on sand. The fundamentals are the same, but the way the game is played is completely different. In Dubai, Alex was operating on a fast outdoor hard court where her flat, penetrating ball was a weapon of mass destruction. The ball skids through low and fast, and by the time a player like Polini has identified where the shot is going, it is already past her. That surface suits Alex's game perfectly. It rewards aggression, early ball striking, and players who can control the point from the very first shot. Indoor clay is a different world. The surface grips the ball. Top spin gets amplified. Shots that would fly through on a hard court suddenly rear up high and force you to hit outside your ideal contact zone. The pace of the game slows down just enough to give defenders an extra beat, an extra half step that can completely change the outcome of a rally. And Jasmine Polini on clay is not the same player you saw scrambling around Dubai. On this surface, she is in her element. She grew up grinding on the red dirt of Italy. Absolutely wild. The ranking implications sitting heavy, everything that has been said about both of them in the weeks between Dubai and Germany, all of it compressed into a handful of games. That is the kind of tennis that reminds you why you fell in love with the sport. What makes Alex so compelling beyond the tennis is who she is as a person inside these moments. There is a composure about her that does not always fit the profile of a 20-year-old. She does not get rattled in obvious ways. She does not fold when the crowd shifts or when a veteran opponent finds a second gear. She stays inside herself, she trusts her game, and she finds a way. That quality is rare. It is the thing that scouts and coaches talk about in hushed tones when they identify players who are going to be around for a very long time. Absolutely wild. The ranking implications sitting heavy, everything that has been said about both of them in the weeks between Dubai and Germany, all of it compressed into a handful of games. That is the kind of tennis that reminds you why you fell in love with the sport. What makes Alex so compelling beyond the tennis is who she is as a person inside these moments. There is a composure about her that does not always fit the profile of a 20-year-old. She does not get rattled in obvious ways. She does not fold when the crowd shifts or when a veteran opponent finds a second gear. She stays inside herself, she trusts her game, and she finds a way. That quality is rare. It is the thing that scouts and coaches talk about in hushed tones when they identify players who are going to be around for a very long time.